Real estate is about to change. Something new is coming. Something faster, smarter, built for a world that no longer waits. Created by REI Labs, this is the first artificial real estate intelligence, RE. For years, beginners have been left guessing, unsure where to start, who to trust, or how to know if a deal is real. Questions went unanswered, information was scattered, and mistakes were expensive. RE changes that. RE gives you real-time answers, comps, and ARV, nationwide buyers, live online leads, and deal intelligence, all in one system that guides you. Whether you're just starting or ready to move faster, RE is there when no one else is. This isn't another course. This isn't another tool. This is real estate intelligence. Available in English and Spanish. The future is here, and real estate will never be the same. Enrollment is limited. Go to the site now and join the waiting list.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Here in San Antonio, shooting out across the nation, we have a lot of good news to share with you. Today is episode 5 of Real Estate Reimagined, where we are showcasing REI Labs' creation of RE, Artificial Real Estate Intelligence. I happen to be the first ambassador and so proud to have been picked. Because I said yes 2 years ago. So, guys, we're going to be doing these every single morning, 5 days a week. We may start doing them at night also so that people can see the power of RE. But these morning sessions, I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up a calendar. So we may do some trainings in the mornings where we're actually bringing in other experts in their field, asking them questions about RE and how it would help, how a system like that would help them and their students. And then myself, I may be, doing some teaching during the morning, utilizing RE. But we want RE to be the focus. So we don't want to carry on myself and just talk. We want RE to be the focus. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to show the power of RE when it comes to calculating deals. So how it, from easy deals to extremely difficult deals. If you're out there watching and you have a deal and you can't make sense of it and you can put it into, a pretty good format, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no written structure that you want to send it over. We don't need the address or anything. We can put it into RE and see what RE says, see what it tells you, it gives you the answers that you want. maybe it'll give you a different scenario that you should be looking at. That's what already was built for. So without further ado, I don't want to spend a lot of time just talking and talking and listening to myself talk. What I want to do is I want to show the power of Ari. So what we want to do today is just get into it. So let's just go ahead and do that now. And let me see here. Here we are. So guys, this is Ari. This is Ari stands for Artificial Real Estate Intelligence. It is one of a kind. It is not a white label or GPT system or excuse me, white label or ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that. Like you can't get this anywhere, guys. You can't make this. This is not an AI agent. A lot of folks who are creating AI are just creating AI agents or prompts, and that stuff is good. It's cute. It's cute until the major AI companies create AIs that build prompts that then they won't need you anymore. So that's already happening. So I'm not trying to down anybody, but our AI Labs was built by real engineers, not investors that deal in wholesaling. These were real engineers that built the system. And we're gonna ask some questions here this morning. So let's just go ahead and start off with a really cool, simple scenario here. Let me see here. Give me a second. We're gonna start off with a really cool, simple scenario. Um, let's ask it what a payment is on a particular scenario. Let's say we're gonna do this one right here. This is pretty simple to figure out. If you know anything about using a mortgage calculator, you're gonna be able to do that. But the reason I'm showing you, from easiest to difficulty is because you can see that the power of just asking a question. A lot of times you may need the yield for an investor. You may need to calculate different scenarios. You may need to calculate, you know, uh, the amortization at a certain period, a certain month, a certain date, and people find that hard, man. They find that hard to figure out sometimes on calculators. And today you can just do it. So this is a zero interest seller carry. So let's just see what Ari says. As you can see, it's very, very detailed. It's very detailed in the responses that it gives. So not only can you learn, how this stuff is being calculated, you get a good understanding of how to explain it. So that's what's a really cool thing about having a system like this. You're going to be learning probably a lot faster than any of the gurus can teach you. You have to keep this in mind. I'm not against gurus, guys. I'm not against mentors or coaches. I myself have mentored a lot of people and coached a lot of people. But the thing is, the one thing I always realized, no matter how big my groups were, no matter how much time I spent teaching, it was never enough. Because I may know a lot of stuff, and I do, but it was never enough. I can't get 100% of my mind or experience into somebody else's brain, and that's why it was never enough. And sometimes people fall by the wayside in these type of groups, and the reason they fall by the wayside is because if you have somebody that's a little quiet, if you have somebody that's a little quiet, and you have maybe they don't ask a lot of questions, and 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 those people end up usually suffering. And the reason they end up suffering is because nobody's paid attention to them. They're not asking questions. And because they're not asking questions, the mentor or coach is assuming that everything's good, or they just become an afterthought. And that's the problem with a lot of folks. So, if you take this scenario right here, we asked it a simple question: what is the monthly payment on this property? And so, we gave it a scenario, and it gave you a little bit of insight on on what is calculating. So on this one right here, let me see here. Let's go ahead and start it over again. Let's get a new question here. This is going to be, what is my monthly payment? And we're going to ask a question here. Then we're going to ask, let me see here. Seller carries remaining balance at 0% for 10 years. All right, let's see what it says. Just a simple one. All right, hey guys, if you guys have any questions, if you have any questions and you want to ask me a question about anything, just put it in there in the system, and we'll get it answered for you really quick. Okay, here is the answer that I gave right here for this question. So it's like, hey, monthly payment, seller financing is 0. So it breaks it down, real simple stuff. It's not too complicated, and this is something you can figure out yourself. But it's when you start getting into the complicated stuff that that it gets, that you're probably gonna need some help. And so let's ask it another question here. We're gonna ask it, how much does the buyer save monthly over 30 years? Well, let's figure that out. Now the one thing about RE, the one thing about RE, it is very specific on the prompting. So for example, if we were gonna be talking about buyers, then there's a very specific prompting to that. And we share those prompts with you, and this will allow you to get buyers anywhere in the nation. And right now we have it down. Well, when I say REA Labs has it down to the city. So you can get a lot of buyers in a city. Okay. You get a lot of buyers in the city, but very soon you'll be able to get it down to the zip code. So once you're able to get it down to the zip code, that's where the fun is going to start, because that's where you're going to be able to just, instead of emailing a bunch of people, instead of sending a bunch of people a bunch of lists, you'll be able to get it. You'll be able just to request a buyer in a certain zip code, and you'll know who the buyer is. That's what's coming with the power of AI. And the one beautiful thing about this particular system is that the gentleman that built it, what they had in mind was, how do we make things easier for, not for the guru, like their thought process wasn't to make things easier for individual coach or mentor or guru. Their thought process was, how do we make things easier for a regular person, and that was the key thing. So here, internet's running a little slow here today, guys, so forgive me about that. So Ari answered here. Another question, this one is, how much does the buyer save monthly over 30 years? So, the number was bank rate 7.5 versus seller rate at 5.5. So it breaks it down pretty easy for you to understand. And again, you can use a calculator for this. But guys, sometimes when you're using a calculator, you don't really learn how to pitch these payments, and you have to really focus on how to do that. So let's try another one here. We're gonna do, what is payment and risk to seller? Okay, that's a pretty simple one. We're gonna do here. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. We're gonna put this one in here. The internet's running a little slow today, guys. Here in the building, I office out of a 14-story building here in San Antonio. I'm on the 14th floor, so you can see the city. You probably can't see the city, but I can see the city from here, and it's really cool. So the internet is running a little slow, so that's the key thing, and that affects any AI. But getting back to what I was saying, when it comes to requesting information, for example, buyers, we will REI Labs will soon have buyers down to the zip code so that you can know who's buying in those zip codes. But more than that, I'm being told that by mid-year, they will be able to match your deal with a specific buyer or a handful of buyers that you'll know exactly like those are the buyers. And so you'll be able to go in there and send those people your decks automatically by just clicking on a button. That's coming. It's not here yet, but that is coming, guys. That's the type of power that these gentlemen are putting into Ari. Okay, let me see here. Looks like let me see here. It looks like we got an answer here. Give me 1 second. Again, the internet's running a little slow here today, so we're going to have to put up with that. Let me see here. We're going to ask it, what is the payment and risk to seller? That's the question. And so we're giving it just some real easy numbers. And unfortunately, the internet is running a little slow here today, so that affects any AI. And but oh, here it goes. This one's going pretty quickly here. So it's already calculating a very simple question, and that question is like if somebody asks you, like, what is the payment and the risk to seller? Like, what do you say? And the numbers seem pretty small. It's simple. You have a price of 220, $5,000 down, 7% interest. Like, how would you answer that question? So you could take this right here if you really wanted to do something really cool, man. Like, let me show you. This is how we are working some of our deals. Like, let me show you something. So we take this information, and then you can create gamma AIs. Let me show you. Let me log into this thing real quick. Paste text. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to blow your mind right now, man. How we're able to use all this information and then create decks for sellers, and they get this information, and it's a better quality, man. They're like, wow, man, this guy really put a lot of time into giving me a response on this deal. And the thing about it is that we're just using AI to create this stuff. I'm doing it right now, as a matter of fact. And as soon as I get it up here, it's taking a few seconds. I'm going to show it to you. And here, it's happening right now. You see that? So when we send an offer, we use Ari to calculate the information. And then we take that information, and this will be one day incorporated into Ari. We get that information and we create an offer to them. So when they get an offer, that is very detailed and is way different than what any guru's telling you to present, as you can see. And it's being created with AI instantaneously, guys. This is the type of stuff that we're doing at REI Labs. We're using the AI that REI Labs created, and we're using other AIs to create productions that we can send to owners that are going to be far more superior than keeping somebody on the phone for 30 minutes to an hour. So this is really, really cool stuff, guys. If you like what we're doing here at REI Labs, I would ask you to invite people to these streams here in the morning at 8 o'clock. As we progress and we get more more in tune with the system that was actually created, and more advanced features come out with REI Labs. When it comes to Ari, these are type of things that we're going to be sharing with folks so they can learn how to use them. So this right here, guys, is a AI being created right in front of you, and it's creating a pitch deck for the person that we want to pitch. And that is a really, really cool thing to be able to share with someone. It's very professional, and it only takes a minute or two to create. So imagine speaking to somebody and you're trying to get them to see your point of view. They're asking you all kind of questions. What is what is the balloon? What is my payment in 10 years if we do a balloon? What if I do a 5% rate? What is the yield? Like, you guys, all this stuff coming out, and if you just put it into Ari is going to give you an answer in seconds. Depending on of course, on the Wi-Fi. And then if you wanted to put a presentation deck together, you could just copy all that information, throw it into a Gamma, and create a whole presentation. And then what you do is you take that link, so it creates a link. You can just send them the link. You're not even sending them a PDF or anything. You're just sending them a link. And if they like it, they can click on the button. It goes to the contract. They sign right there. Boom, you're done. That is the type of stuff that we're teaching at REI Labs. And guys, we're gonna be opening up a school for this here real soon. And we believe that we're gonna be able to show people how to do this business of real estate at a faster speed, more efficient, more professional. And what we want to teach folks is, with the type of systems that we're creating, is how to not have to do 10, 15,000, calls, a month, and instead focus on specific deals and use AI to not only figure out what those deals are that we should target, but at the same time use the AI to help us understand those deals, and then of course use another AI to present those deals. So guys, this is the type of stuff that we're doing, and in seconds. So, and if you're interested in anything that I'm sharing with you here today, of how these systems are going to really affect how business is done here in the future, then I would say to you, not only start coming to these 8 o'clock presentations that we're doing here, because they're going to get more and more complicated as we go forward. But drop me a DM, guys. Drop me a DM on Instagram, on Facebook, and let me know if you want to go into the future, because we're going to be opening up a school, and the school is going to be called UNC 360. UNC 360. Here, I'll put it on the screen. It's not open yet. You can go there and sign up, and it's gonna be UNC 360 School, powered by REI Labs. Here, guys, we did another one here. Let me show you here what's popping off on this other one. So this one right here, the question was total blended payment price 600,000, bank loan 70, seller carry 20, buyer brings 10. So it's saying right here, you're missing one critical input to calculate a real blended payment, interest rate, amortization on both. So guys, it already knows that you're missing something, but it's gonna go in there and still use the information that you fed it to come up with some usable information for you to use. And this is the power of using AI, that even if you had limited information, you could go in there and get an answer, or at least get an answer to be able to ask another question. And a lot of times we don't see that. Where we get stuck, we don't answer the seller's questions. We get stuck in our own world by our limited, not just limited beliefs, but limited experience. But now you don't have to wait for that. If you had a limited amount of information, you could put it into Ari, and Ari's going to say, hey, you're missing this, you're missing that. And now, oh, I'm missing this question, or I need to suggest this option. That's the power of Ari, guys. And there's the one thing that I can tell you, man, and again, I'm not trying to bash gurus and stuff like that. Like, a lot of these guys, I know them, they're my friends and stuff. And the one thing that I can say to you is that unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of folks humbled, whether they're friends or not, because one, they can only answer one real question at a time. Two, For you to be able to get this kind of data, you're going to have to master a calculator. You're going to have to master how it all works, understand how it works. The beautiful thing about Ari, it tells you, explains to you why it's doing what it's doing. It gives you options. It gets you a response. And imagine if you're paying somebody, let's say $40,000 to teach you how to do a specific strategy, but they're not around. They're never around. They're only around when there's a Zoom, and then you don't get to ask all the questions because maybe there's 30 to 40 people in the Zoom, and then you get stuck out. And you get stuck out learning the very limited information that was shared with you, not ever being able to ask any questions, or worse yet, you're expected to ask questions by the underling, the what I call the Batman and Robin effect. You're asking questions of Robin in this case that maybe has a limited amount of experience, maybe has done a few deals, but doesn't know all the nuances of what it is you paid to learn. And that's the problem with real estate. That you know, the problem with real estate guruing is that no matter how good the guy's intentions are, he can't get to everybody, and he can't give you more time than what's available, which is usually a shared hour among 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 people. God forbid that you're in a community of 500 to 600, 600 people. I mean, when are you going to get an answer to any question that you share? So the power of having AI, and again, guys, I didn't create this, but I use it every single day now. And others that are joining are using it every single day. The power of having AI is this, is that as humans, we forget more than what we remember. No matter what the experience is, we have to cross paths with a certain scenario to be able to, for our minds to be able to remember that experience. Unless we're brushing our teeth or walking or something like that, or eating. But when we're coming to doing specific type of creative deals, we have to be confronted with that scenario to be like, oh, look, I know how to do that. Unless it's something you're doing every day, like a wholesale. Well, the beautiful thing about having a system like Ari is that if you come across any scenario, you can just ask it, and it's going to tell you, best option. It's going to tell you what it's missing. It's gonna tell you how to do it, and that is the beautiful thing about having a system like this. All right, let's just ask this thing another question. Unfortunately, here the internet's running a little slow today here in the building, so that usually affects, the AI. Now, some gurus may be listening to this, and they're like, "Hey, well, I can answer a question right now," and that is true. I mean, that is a true statement. The difference is that for every one question you can answer, there's hundreds of questions if you have a bunch of students that are not being answered because you're only one person, and you can only answer one question at a time. So let's check this out. Ask it another question right now. It's giving us an answer here. So this question right here is simple question. Total blended payment, price 600K, bank loan 70%, seller carries 20, buyer brings 10. So it's also telling you we're missing some information, but it's already starting to break down, you know, the scenario based on the information you gave it. So as you can see, even if you don't put all the information in there, if you forgot something, you could still come up with a good synopsis of what you're looking at. And the other beautiful thing about it is that now you get to go back to the seller and ask them a question, be like, "Yeah, I need this information." And that is what REI has built. They built what they like to call an action-based 24/7 AI mentor, that you can turn to at a moment's notice. So while we're chatting here, let's ask another question here. what we're going to do is we're going to ask Ari here. Let's see here to start a new chat. We're going to ask Ari here the total profit over 5 years, including down payment. That's a pretty cool question. And we're going to get very limited information here. The limited information is going to be so wrapped to a buyer, $25,000 down, 700 monthly spread. So let's see what it says. Now keep in mind, it's going to know it's already responding. Let me show you. It's going to know what it needs. It's going to know what it's missing. It's going to, right here, it's going to tell you, like here, quick deal math, 5 year, 5 year total profit. You're asking a straight operator question. It's giving you a snapshot, step by step. Monthly spread profit. It's breaking this thing down, guys. And then now here's asking, like, hey, bottom line, 5 year 5 year minimum profit. Let's check that out. Let's say let me see here. Let's do this. What is how about at 5 years? I think what do we have up here? Let me see. We had total profit over 5 years. Let's ask it this. How about 10 years? Let's see what it says, And this is the power of being able to have a system like this, is that you can ask it questions and it's not going to get tired. It's going to continue to answer your questions. Right now it's thinking, and this is for any type of scenario, whether it's creative financing, innovations, reverse wholesaling, seller financing, owner financing, partial interest, dirty title, whatever it is that you can think of that you can wrap your mind around, that you need to know. RE is a good choice for this because it's built for specific purpose in real estate. Now, when it comes to calculating deals, you can say to yourself again, well, I'll just use a calculator. That's fine. You want to use a calculator? That's fine. But you know what the calculator doesn't tell you? The calculator doesn't tell you what you're missing. It doesn't tell you whether it's a good scenario or not. What the calculator just tells you is just numbers. And numbers in most cases are absolute because they don't lie. But it doesn't tell you what you're missing. It doesn't tell you what your options are. And that's the difference. RE does do all that. So look, if you guys are interested in a system like this and you want to level up very, very quickly, okay, and you want to be able to ask a question about any kind of real estate that you can think of, okay, and let's just say you're a wholesaler but you want to be an innovator. Let's just say you're an innovator but you want to do creative financing. That's the kind of power that you're going to have with Ari. So again, guys, the internet here was working a little slow, so that kind of sucks because I really wanted to show the power of Ari. Yesterday it was on tilt, man. It was just spitting out questions left and right. And today it's moving a little slow, but it has nothing to do with the system itself. It has everything to do with the internet here. That sometimes it's a little, even though it's a great building. I love this building. I love being here. I have a good view back here, but sometimes for some reason the internet here gets a little spotty, and it slows things down. Not just for Ari, but for any of the AIs that we use up here. So guys, let's do this. Let's go ahead and land this ship. I think that I see someone here that made a comment. It says, "Man, this is fired." Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here and joining me with these morning sessions. I'm going to ask you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have two. One is the Young 360 YouTube channel. One is the REI Labs channel that I run. We're going to be putting out more and more trainings every single day. If you're interested in joining my school, it's going to launch very soon. It's UNC 360. It's going to primarily deal with advanced real estate strategies, and it's going to have its own AI that's going to help us analyze deals, analyze records a lot faster. So if you're interested in that, go sign up right now. Anybody can sign up for free. What we're going to probably do once we get that thing going is offer some, free free real estate strategies that people can learn to make money. My understanding is we're going to offer some AIs that REI Labs built so that people can have access to those. But the advanced stuff, that's the most important thing to me. That's what's dear to my heart. And I will be involved in that. When it comes to REI Labs here, I will be doing these morning shows until they decide to replace me with somebody else, probably somebody more good looking, because I'm not as good looking as I was when I was young. And so, there it is. Guys, with that said, man, I hope to see you here tomorrow. Have your questions. We're probably going to start extending these morning sessions to about an hour so we can really showcase Ari. Send me a DM if you have a question. Join my school. It's coming soon. Go get Ari because it's in beta right now. You'll be grandfathered in to this price no matter what they add to it. And I hope I see you on the other side.